This is the K95.3 Sports Show podcast, brought to you by the Fan Zone in Wilmer's Candy Mall.
Welcome to the K95.3 Sports Show podcast. My name is Beau. Thank you for joining us. As usual, if you like what you hear, please hit the subscribe button. If you're on your cell phone, go ahead and hit the bell button also, and that'll give you push notifications on your phone whenever it comes out. Also, thank you to the Fan Zone for sponsoring us. Also, email me your Mount Rushmore of Vikings players at K953sportsshow@gmail.com. That's K953sportsshow@gmail.com. If I get enough of them, eventually I'll pick through some and pick some of you people who submitted them to come in and be on the show. Once again, I want this to be a community-based show where people from around the community that love to talk sports can come in here and talk sports with me. So let's also comments. And like the video. I never talk about this, but hit the like button. Just give it a quick thumbs up if you like it. I'd appreciate it. If you disagree with something we're saying on here, or if you want us to talk about something in the future, leave it in the comments below. And so a way that we can kind of talk back and forth outside of the program. So let's we'll go ahead and get to my guests. I brought my father in for this week, Rolf Stamfus. Welcome, Father.
I'm here. Here we go.
All right, and then making his second appearance, from Anytime Fitness, Russ G. Welcome, Russ.
Thank you for having me again.
Hey, no problem, guys. It's too bad it's on such a dismal show or day after the Seattle game last night. But what we'll do is we'll go ahead and start with, as usual, even though we lost, I want to start with some kind of a positive. Was it tough to find a positive from last night? A little bit. But, overall, the defense is still looking good. That's my positive. You take away the amazing scramble and run by Russell Wilson late in the game, which was just a great job by him. I mean, he's a great athlete. You take away that, they still gave up a decent amount of rushing, but they held Seattle to 14 points. You hold a team in the NFL to 14 points, you should win the game.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. I was going to say, which defense we're going to talk about tonight, Vikings or Seattle's?
Yeah. And Seattle had, we'll talk about that a little bit more later with the Seattle game, but their defense was doing awesome last night too. So, the defense, at the beginning of the year, the defense looked out of sorts. They looked like they did back in the Philly game and the second half of the New Orleans game, and everybody was freaking out. And I told everybody to take a deep breath and relax. That believe in Zim and he will turn the defense around, which he has now.
Yep.
With the continuing injury problems with our defensive backs.
Yeah, I think as far as it's been going, I mean, like you say, it's been a lot better. I just see some gaping mistakes. I still think as far as their coverage goes, but that's they're holding their own.
Yeah, they're not the defense of last year.
No, they're not. But surprising,
they haven't dropped as far as bad as they should.
I missed the first quarter and a half because I was at a meeting and I came home. It was 3-0. I couldn't hardly believe that. And I guess I didn't see that portion of the game, but the rest of the game I thought the defense held their own. And of course, just as usual, Mr. Wonderful Russell breaks loose, and that just. It just sticks in my craw every time I see him take off because it just seems like 30, 40 yards every time. Russ, you seen that too?
He should have been ours. I was just, my biggest thing was by the end of the game, I look at the time of possession here. It was 32-28. It seemed a lot more lopsided than that to me.
In the first half, definitely was.
Yeah,
I mean, because Seattle in the second half only had like 9 total yards in the third quarter, and so they definitely dropped. But yeah, in the first half, it was horribly balanced on their side.
That's why I feel like, in that second half, they probably felt like they played 2 games already by the time Russell broke free.
True.
But overall, I was happy with how the defense played again, and I was the same way as you were at the beginning of the year. I said he'll turn it around, and it took 4 or 5 games, but the defense has played wonderfully. I mean, are they a top 3 defense? No, but I mean, they're still easily in the top 10.
Yep. Yeah.
So-
And I've been watching Griffin too. I think Griffin is maybe out of sorts yet. I got more excited when I saw Weatherly in there. And is it Weatherly or whatever it is? But I think he has played really well this year, and I just think Griffin just is not the Griffin of old. I think he's lost something.
And hopefully with a full off season, he can finish getting everything.
Yeah, get his
everything
get his
situated.
ducks in a row, so to speak.
Yeah,
you know?
get back into the program, and hopefully that'll change for next year.
And not that.
But other than that, I'm not gonna lie. I'm sure anybody who is listening here isn't listening to hear us talk about the defense. So, let's just jump right into the mudslinging. And I've got here on our itinerary O-line, DeFilippo, Cousins. I mean, I think it's all going to just kind of gel together. And I'm actually going to bump up the offensive coordinator thing just because of what happened earlier today with Flip being fired. First off, do you guys agree with that? Russ, you go first.
I said right when I woke up this morning, I'd be shocked if somebody's head didn't roll. And it's got to start with him. I totally agree with it. I think it was a good move. My problem is now, what if nothing changes? Where do we go next? Is it the quarterback? I don't know where to go next, but for now I'm happy with the decision. I think it had to be done. I mean, there's too much talent on this team to not move the ball.
Yeah, it's true. And I from the very beginning, I was kind of doubtful on Flip being a quarterback coach, and then all of a sudden, it seems like the league does this a lot. Quarterback coach seems to be the one that's going to go as an offensive coordinator. I think it's going to be like I'm almost saying I would like to look back and see how it's gone. Maybe 50-50, maybe as far who comes in and maybe stars isn't. But we got to talk about Ole and his O-line. Same thing is. It's just I don't know what to say about it. I think we just and I've been reading all this stuff about hanging Cousin out to dry. Why? Well, let's get Case Keenum back. On stuff I've been reading on Facebook today. It's ridiculous. I think Cousin. Yeah, they gave it Cousins 4-24 against teams that have a winning record. So it's just to the point that. I'm kind of tired of it because we've got to get an O-line and give him time.
Yeah, and see that's with Flip. I agree. It was time we need to make a change. Just to get our hopes up as Viking fans. That's what we got to do. But in 2012, literally almost to the day, the Baltimore Ravens fired their offensive coordinator. They won the Super Bowl.
That's
Did
right.
not notice that.
I
didn't know.
never even thought about that.
Great defense, underperforming offense.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
they won a Super Bowl with too. What was his name? The quarterback. I
Yeah,
forget.
well, Flacco. Yeah, and I would take Cousins over Flacco.
Well, and then they won one with Dilfer too.
Yeah. That was early 2000s. Yeah,
Holy
yeah.
crap.
So right there, it just shows there's a precedence. I mean, it happened once. I'm sure it happens many other times that it didn't succeed. But when you have a team that is supposed to be Super Bowl type of contenders, and you just change one little thing like that, it might make the difference. And take and Flip out, and of course, they ended up promoting Kevin Stefanski. I didn't realize he was with us since Childress came on in 2006.
wow.
He
I
has,
didn't know that either.
yeah. For those that don't know, he started off with us. Let's see where. Save the pieces, Dad.
Yes.
All right, so
Thank
we
you very
got.
much.
He was he was assistant to the head coach for 06 to 08. Then he was the assistant quarterbacks coach from 09 to 13, tight ends coach from 14 to 15, running back coach 2016, and then now he's been the quarterbacks coach the last 2 years. So I mean, he has see once again, there you go.
Here we go, quarterback coach
Yep.
again.
So he has been with the team through multiple changes. So that should say something about him right there, because when a new coach comes in, they usually like to sweep through and get rid of as many, if not all, of the coaching staff. So the fact that he's held on to through multiple head coaches should say something about him. Maybe maybe this is his chance to show who he is and what he can do. I know he was in for the job at the beginning of the year, but then we went towards the shiny object instead.
Yeah.
The
And I-
Super Bowl team.
Yeah,
yeah,
and
of course.
And it's been years now. Of course, I've been watching for a long time. But in the last few years, our offense has been, I really feel, pretty bland. And we line up, guy of the back, running back 7 yards deep. 9 times out of 10, we're going to run the ball. My biggest thing is they've got to run Cook. They got to run him outside. They got to get him outside because once he has a squeaky little clean spot, he'll go right through that. And swing passes, well, it goes back to the old Chuck Foreman days. They got to swing it out to him. He catches the ball. You get him out on field.
Yeah.
He can make people miss and run people over.
Yeah, it's
no imagination.
Underused.
I really haven't seen
very underused.
Yeah, very underused. And I keep harping about you got to run the ball. But once the run gets stuffed, and you got to be able to pass, and you got to protect.
So it's getting ready for the show today. Like you said, Dad, you're on Facebook, and I'm sure you're on the Minnesota, the MN Vikings fan page on Facebook.
Yes.
Come request to join, and I will accept you to join my group. We're about 3,100 Viking fans from around the world on it right now, and there are a handful of people on my page that are trying to shoulder the blame of the offense on Cousins, and I feel they can't get past the dollar amount we're paying him, but that's the NFL these days. If you're a franchise quarterback and you become a free agent or you have a contract up, you are automatically propelled into the top 1, 2, or 3 paid quarterbacks in the NFL. That's the way it is, plain and simple. And he that's what he got. So let me talk about a few things here. So I think the 3 things that have been the problem with the offense this year in this order have been, number 1, the offensive line. Number 2, Flip in his play calling, in his game planning. And number 3, Cousins. Now, you got 3 things right there. If you improve just one of the previous 2, it improves Cousins' game. Mm-hmm. If you have a better offensive line, he has more time to make his reads and to throw those pinpoint passes that he can do when he has time. Now, say the offensive line is the same, but we have a good offensive coordinator who can game plan and lay out the plays to realize that we have a bad offensive line. So hey, we got to do this to make that to make up for it. So if we have even just had one of those 2, that improves Cousins.
Well, look, a couple of things I've noticed on Cousins, and I've been kind of watching him lately because everybody's been picking on him. Sometimes he seems to kind of telegraph his passes as who he's going to pass it to. He seems to kind of look at receiver a little longer than he should instead of going for that second or third receiver. I've noticed that. Plus, sometimes he holds that ball a little too long because these linemen, if I'm a little, I mean, sometimes they're going 1,001, 1,002, and usually
and he's there.
And about 1,003 is when he should be that pass should be gone, and that's when they usually let up. So, did you hear anything about O'Neal? Is he hurt bad? Are we going to?
He went back in the game.
Oh, he did.
Yeah, I saw him back in the game,
and I think he'll be all right. But
it must have been a Jameson.
I'm a little bit. I'm centering the blame more on Cousins than you guys are. I've seen a lot of great quarterbacks with worse offensive lines do a lot more.
I don't know. I think our offensive line is horrible, though. I
wouldn't go as far as horrible. They're definitely not. They're not top 10. I'll tell you that.
Wow,
they're a long ways from that.
Probably.
But when he does have time, he just stands there. And I nicknamed him the statue.
Yeah.
He is the statue. Mm-hmm. He is a perfect pose. He just stands there until he gets sacked. He doesn't throw the ball, even throw the ball away.
Yeah, he's got to step up in the pocket a little more because that starts collapsing.
He never moves in the pocket.
He's got to step out of that pocket.
And don't get me wrong, I think Cousins needs to improve on some things, like
definitely.
any quarterback.
Yeah.
Every quarterback has bad reads, bad throws, bad decisions. That happens from everybody. It's just, if you, like I mentioned, if you fix one of those 2 things, just even one of them, if you fix them both, awesome. Yep. Then it'll make a huge difference. But, can he hold on to the ball maybe a little bit sometimes? Maybe. But then again, we're seeing the offensive line and the defensive line battling to get to the Cousins we're not seeing the full field. We don't see if there is a guy wide open. We don't know what the play call is. Usually when they got a play call, it's you look at this person first, then the second read, then the third read. No, if the fourth read is open, it's going to take him some time to get to that fourth read.
Yeah, he definitely doesn't have time to go through progressions. I'll give you that. But there was a couple plays, a couple replays they showed last night with Diggs and Thielen standing wide open. Don't tell me they were the third and fourth option on almost any play.
Well, then the question looks at where was he looking? How was the offensive line? Like, I know one of the plays they talked about was the him throwing it to the Rudolph in the end zone instead of Thielen. But if you watch, he looks at Thielen first, and Thielen had the corner on him, and he had the safety coming in on him. Now, he knew that safety was going to be breaking for the ball, so he's like, well, I can't throw to him. So he turned to look at Rudolph, which was his second read, quickly, because you only got 11 yards of total field. So you got to make a quick decision. No way Cousins would have known that safety was going to slip and make Thielen a little more open. He looked away before that safety slipped. And so unless Cousins can see the future with that, that's not, Then they showed, then I saw another replay, the one where he did his little the backwards lateral to Murray. Right there, what happened there is you had Cook having to block the right end who went around Cook, so he had to try to step up, but meanwhile, Remmer's guy gets pushed back, so he can't step up, and so therefore he kind of turns around and dumps it off. People are pointing, well, look, Adam Thielen was wide open. He can be as wide open as he wants 15 yards down the field, but if he is moving forward and there's a guy coming at him, he's not going to be able to plant or even get off a decent throw to the guy. Okay. So once again, it's the O-line, they can show people wide open, but you have to look. I feel you have to look at more of the play and what else is going on.
Well,
but like I said, he could improve. He can improve.
I'm going to appease the Cousin haters and say that he's probably about 25% of the offense's problem right now. And that's the way I feel. And just the way he can't move. He doesn't like to move. And
at times he did the Green Bay game.
Yeah,
they did that for one game, and
which annoys me because he can move.
And then when he comes out of the pocket and he's running, and all of a sudden he's 5 yards for the first down, and he throws the ball and he's got a wide open field. Once
again, that's coaching.
That's right. It is. It has to go back to coaching. You should tell him, hey, man, you got 5 yards to go. Go,
Speaking
run
of
it,
coaching,
and slide.
So they fired the offensive coordinator. You're saying, Beau, that the offensive line is the most to blame.
Correct.
So why didn't we fire the offensive line coach? So the organization...
Coaches, because there's two of them.
Yeah.
I don't know if you recall that.
The organization apparently thinks it's more of a play-calling issue than it is a line issue.
Yeah.
I think, just firing the two random offensive line coaches that had to step up because of Sperano dying... you need to kind of make a splash in this situation. And because there was also question marks on the game planning and the play calling, because like I said, if you have an offensive coordinator that knows that the offensive line can't hold, then you make the game plan and you change up to do that, to stop that from happening. And that's what Flip wasn't doing. So I still agree with that. I do agree that the off-season, those two coaches should be gone. Number one priority should be finding a top offensive line coach.
Needs to be done. And don't get me wrong,
coaching matters in the NFL.
I think losing Easton at the beginning of the year is a bigger deal than people think too.
Yeah.
He's a solid lineman.
Yeah. That's what's different from last year, because everybody's like, oh, look at what Case did last year. Case had Schumer, by far a good offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
And he had
He had
Berger.
some imagination. We don't have it anymore.
Yeah, and he had Berger at right guard, and he had Easton at left guard. Now we have Remmers, who is a tackle playing guard, and we have Compton, who's a decent backup starting. So we had the two minor, and we still got Elfline. To be honest, I don't know if Elfline's back 100%. He's probably health-wise
as well as he did his rookie.
Before he got injured. I'll agree with that.
He looks like he gets dumped on his keister quite often.
Yeah, not as much as Remmers, but
Remmers. So you can see it going.
So I mean, I definitely think the offensive line coach, like you mentioned, the coaches, they should be gone, or maybe one will stay as an assistant to the new offensive line coach. But It's that's what we need, and we need to draft a guard with our first round pick. Draft a guard, and then maybe see if, depending on where we are with money wise, maybe pick up a veteran guard off the free agent market. I don't know what the free agent veteran guard market is, whether or not it's good or not, because it has to be good too. I mean, you just don't want to pick up a random guard just to say, hey, I picked up one. I mean, if he is just as crappy as the other one.
I could see them picking another corner though.
No, I don't think they will.
First round every year, right?
No, I think they've got enough now. They like Holton Hill. They got. I think they're good.
Holton Hill, I think, is going to be
But we might lose
okay.
Wayne. But we might lose Wayne's in the offseason.
You
I
know,
think Barr's gone.
You know, who's the rookie? Who's the guy that was playing that?
Hill. Or Hughes that we drafted.
Hughes. Oh, yeah, he's money. He's
Yeah.
gonna be
Yeah.
good. So we'll be all right there.
Yeah, we're going to be
seems
good.
like Zimmer makes defense a priority for drafting, and I get that we should. But man, we've been crying about this offensive line for 3-4 years here, guys. We got to get this fixed.
Yeah, and this is the off season to hopefully do that. I'm fine. I'm still fine with Elfline at center, and I'm fine with Reef and O'Neal at the tackle spot. I think O'Neal has been a nice surprise, and I think in the offseason building up his muscle a little bit more and getting
he's going to be fine.
I think he's going to is he going to be a Pro Bowler? Probably not. But we don't need 5 Pro Bowlers. We just need 5 guys that play together as a unit.
Yeah,
and can block.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a mess, and unfortunately, like I said, I think we'll see what happens when Stefanski steps in this weekend. This is his opportunity.
Yeah, this is his chance.
He's
But
what do you do? You can't really all of a sudden reinvent the offense. He's got to come in with something just a little.
Well, he's been under several head coaches.
yeah.
He's seen several different playbooks. You can't tell me that he
Including
hasn't
the kick-ass
dreamed of this
offensive
moment.
show.
He hasn't. Yeah, he hasn't. You can't tell me he hasn't dreamed of this moment though.
Well, I tell
for
you
how
what.
many years?
Yeah, I tell you what. If I see another fourth down or 3rd and 1, and we send Murray up the middle, I'm going to throw up in my throat.
Yeah,
The guy stands straight up.
Yeah.
Put somebody that can just. I think Cook would lower his head and
Murray's very good with a very good offensive line.
Yep.
He
struggles when he doesn't get that first block.
Yeah. And once again, that's on the guard play.
Yep, that is again. Yes.
Elfline can't do it all in the middle, and he might get most of his guy, and he might screw up occasionally too. But you need the push from the guards. I mean, when you're handing the ball off on those 3rd and 1s, and once he's got the ball, he's 3 yards behind the goal or for the first down, and there's already guys in his face. That's not his problem.
No.
That is not his problem.
It's not.
And that's the thing. When we went for that first one, and we threw it instead of running, people were like, "Oh, why didn't you run it?" And I was like, because we haven't been able to complete the run. We haven't been able to complete 3rd and 1, 4th and 1 with the run, and then we did it later, and we didn't complete it.
Yeah.
So I was like, "See."
And I still think that I don't know if they're protecting Cousin on those kind. I know they fill the middle on those 3rd and 1s and stuff. But I still think you can get a push to get.
Oh yeah, well, you got 2 first downs. You got 2 first downs last night by doing the sneak.
And I
Tom Brady's made his bread.
Russ, I agree with you. I think
most underused play in NFL history is the QB sneak.
Yeah,
but
and I think they need to roll him out a little more since our line is kind of sucky.
Roll him.
I don't know.
He did in the second half. He came out and he started rolling him out, but then he just stopped again.
Yeah.
Back into the same old.
The inconsistency of the flip play calling.
Yeah.
And that's I think was. I mean, he'd have a great half and then he'd have just a horrible half.
Yep.
No consistency.
None.
And Cook's got to be used more. That's all there is to it. I'm sorry.
He does. He's a Saquon Barkley type talent. Yeah. Look what the Giants, even though they have a terrible record, have. We're not far behind them now. Look what that guy's doing. You can't tell me that Cook is that much less talented than him.
No, I would no exactly. If they need to feed Cook. We talked about that last week. Get him the ball. He makes people miss. You put him in the open field against somebody, I will take him 10 out of 10 times in the open field one-on-one with the first player, almost every time.
Absolutely.
Unless there was a couple of times last night where the defender, once again, and that just gives kudos to Seattle and their defensive game plan and good tackling. But they got Cook down by his ankles a couple of times. So if you're not tackling Cook at the ankles, he will not go down on the first hit.
No, you're right about that one.
So yeah, it's...
So did we hear anything from the league on apologizing for the leverage, non-leverage call last
Yeah,
week?
that was, I will say, it's funny because there was bad calls all weekend, guys, around the NFL. They were calling, just watching, my good old buddy Stephen A. little bit and a little bit of the herd. This is one of the worst weekends for reffing all around in the NFL. And then they come out last night and they hang another bad one on. I mean, come on.
And you can say, you can say all you want about the Vikings struggles last night and who would have known what would have happened. The fact is that we were down 6-0, kicking a field goal, and a guy did something illegal that should have been a 15-yard penalty and an automatic first down, and we have the ball inside the 20.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's what should have happened.
Yep.
6-0 inside the 20 in the fourth quarter.
Yep.
That's what should have happened. And what pisses me off more than them not making the
they
call
threw the
penalty
flag in the first place.
Exactly.
They picked the flag up.
That's even worse.
Yeah.
Don't even throw the flag then.
Yeah.
If you're not going to make the right call.
It was so blatant, though. We've seen these leverage calls called quite a bit.
I mean, who do they think this guy is that he can
And
just leap up from? I mean, okay.
You might as well
Russ.
just put a trampoline in there.
Exactly. Russ, obviously working and running Anytime Fitness, the fitness side of things. How many people do you think could stand still and just leap from their knees over, a yard forward over these huge players without at least giving some kind of leverage?
It's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, I'm looking at Ralph's got this pulled up on his phone, the picture of this. I mean, this guy's 4 feet off the ground.
I know he's got his hands on both their shoulders.
And the fact that they threw the flag there and somebody overruled him, but another guy in the back of the end zone throws a flag on that pass interference on the sidelines, and the guy that was right there, the referee was right there, couldn't overrule him.
Yeah.
I mean, the ball wasn't even in the picture. It was 3-4 yards beyond and a yard and a half out of bounds.
Uncatchable ball.
The reffing was absolutely horrible. And honestly, I mean, that could have changed the whole game. I mean,
it was.
Honestly, it probably not even could have. It probably did change the whole game. Those kinds of things.
If the NFL wants to improve something, I would say get these full-time refs. And these guys are lawyers and teachers and whatever all week, and then they come in and ref a game. I'm sorry, we need full-time refs.
And have somebody. They should have always somebody up in the booth that's watching the live feed that can quickly signal down to them. Yeah. I mean, if they're sitting there conferencing in the middle of the field, talking, they don't see the replay. They're just looking at, if there's a guy up in a box and they're out there conferencing, like after that pass interference, they're like, whoa, what was a pass interference? Guy be like, hey, that was uncatchable. Guy quickly goes down to the mic in the head ref's ear. Hey, that was uncatchable. It was 4 yards beyond him and out of bounds. Or it's obvious that guy lifted off of his teammates to take that. There's no reason.
Yeah, they're darn sure not going to throw. They're darn sure not going to show the replay on the road. I mean, you're not going to. Why the refs are having a discussion that ain't coming up on the big screen. I can promise you that.
Yeah,
and all for you people that hate us probably right now talking about this one call that changed the game. Yeah, it would have changed the game, but at that point in time, we should have not been driving down to score 7-6. We should have been mauling this team is what we should have been doing.
Oh, absolutely. With the talent
offense,
we have.
Yeah, the talent we have. And I don't know if it's part of the problem with Cousins looking downfield and our wide receivers, because you don't see them until you see them in a replay, and I guess I don't make a note of it. But maybe they're not coming back for the ball. Maybe they're going and doing their thing. Thielen, I think, is one. Maybe Diggs is not. And I'm to the point now when you got Diggs. Last night, Diggs and Thielen were both double covered. And we got Treadwell open. Well, Treadwell doesn't run very good routes. I'm almost starting to holler, give me BB.
Yeah, he's injured.
He's injured. Oh, he is injured. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's been injured.
Well, don't give me Zelstra. Somebody in there that maybe runs a little better pattern. And I think that's what I think. Treadwell has gotten to the point he's catching his passes now, but I don't think he runs good patterns.
Well, it all comes back. This all comes back to the offensive line. If they're doubling,
yes, it does.
If they're doubling Thielen and Diggs, and we can't run the damn ball, what?
Yeah.
So I place my blame. I'm going to go with my 33 and a third for all three.
Yeah.
I'm equally divided. There's enough blame to go around for all these people.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So get it together.
Yeah. Execution.
Yeah.
And that's not in the prison term either. But
Yeah. So we've hopefully at least started to improve one of the points because being gone. Like I said, I'm interested to see. Kevin's got for surely 3 games, maybe 4, because we're still in the 6th spot in the playoffs, and
Easy
the team
now.
and the
Playoffs?
teams and the teams behind us just keep sucking.
true.
Carolina play.
Philly's losing, Carolina's losing.
And you see the Rams lose to the Bears, but that's in the cold weather again.
Yeah. So
you see the Chiefs almost getting beat, which they should have without the fumble. It's just
Well, we got 2
good teams always gets all good teams, and years ago the Vikings got the breaks.
Hey, remember remember the Vikings were 15-1 in 97-98?
Yeah.
But Tampa Bay did the same thing to us that the Bears did to the Rams, and that the Cowboys did to the Saints.
Yeah.
So it happens. They're still
yeah.
ultimately they're the top dogs. But this we got Vikings got 2 out of 3 home games. And the one that's away is at a place we always play well, in Detroit. I think ultimately they're going to make the playoffs as bad as we're playing.
And like I said, and who knows? Maybe Kevin is the answer. Maybe just the offensive coordinator changing it up a little bit.
Yeah.
You don't know. You don't know until it's done, and now it's done, and now we get to see what happens.
Well, I think another thing, too, is that maybe I'm maybe speaking out of turn, but maybe Zimmer's got to be just a little bit more assertive into the offense too, instead of really being Mr. Defensive Coordinator, head coach. Maybe he needs to, all of a sudden they have a play go in and it doesn't work. He should walk over the offensive coordinator and say, "Don't call that play again. That sucked."
Yeah, and he doesn't have to walk over. They have headsets nowadays.
Yeah, I know.
No,
maybe he wants to walk over and grab him by the back of the neck and shake his head
maybe.
and rip his headgear off. Okay.
Little Bug Grant style. I totally agree with you. I've been telling people all morning.
Technology.
Zimmer needs to be more involved in the offense. He's the head coach.
Yeah.
Belichick was a defensive guy. He hardly has anything to do with the defense anymore.
Yeah.
You've got to know offense in this modern day, the way the league is played.
Yes, it is.
Zimmer's coaching like it's 1975.
Yeah.
That's okay, but you got to know the offense.
Yeah, that's right.
So,
Yeah, we'll see what happens over these next 3 weeks. Yeah. Plain and simple.
You want more bullshit out of us here?
Yeah, exactly. There's been a lot of it. No, so
it's getting piled up over here.
Yeah, it is. So we've got. So obviously, we've got coming up here. We got the Dolphins game.
Mm-hmm.
So that's our first one to go up. Obviously, they had their awesome play to beat New England. I mean, I was lucky enough to watch it live, and that was crazy. I
was on Red Zone.
Yeah, and I don't know.
I wasn't.
And just to touch on that play just for a quick second. For once, Belichick overthought something.
Yep.
What was
Gronk?
What was Gronk doing even in the game? I can understand if Miami's at the 50-yard line.
Yeah.
Yes, they can throw it 50 yards, and you
70.
want the big guy up there to elbow people out and to knock the ball down. Yeah. But they were 70 yards away from the end zone.
Mm-hmm. Well, maybe Belichick thought
Mahomes might be able to.
They could throw it 50 yards to about the 20 and
whatever.
And goofball knocks the ball down.
Well, Tannehill can throw it about 65.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even think about it.
What I heard
too far to throw the Hail Mary.
I agree. Yeah. What I heard was they were worried about the tip pass. Tip pass. Throw it 65 yards.
Just the tip.
Tip pass. Yeah. Well, it didn't work out for him.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you saw Gronk fumbling over his legs, trying to get the guy. If he wouldn't have done that, he would have tackled him inside the 5. If he wouldn't have tripped
he's
up.
An athlete.
I can't remember the guy that scored the touchdown, but when he turned inside,
Kenyon Drake.
When he turned inside and went, "Where's he going?" And then all of a sudden, I saw the 2 guys from Miami standing there and go, "Well, now he's looking for blocks."
Yeah.
He played that very cleverly.
Oh, he did. Yes, he did.
So we got to watch him this weekend.
Yeah. That's right.
and they do. And Miami's got a decent team. Their offense is decent. They've got a few playmakers, but they are that team that just shouldn't make the playoffs anyways. I mean, their defense is decent too. They're just an average team, an overall average team. They don't have any standouts on their offense that I'd be like, I want that person on my team.
Yeah, their throwback uniforms.
Offensively, well, I would agree with you. Defensively, I disagree. They've got some.
Oh yeah. They've got some.
They've got some players on defense that can play. One of their better defensive linemen is actually out for the year. They got some good. They got good corners. They got a solid defense. I would compare this almost to Minnesota's defense. It's very tight, but yeah, they don't have people on offense that are going to absolutely light it up unless you just lay down and let them. Boy, if our offense can put up 20 points, guys, I think we can win this game.
Yeah. It's and we're at home.
Show up.
And we're at home.
There is to it. Yeah. Well, no mistakes. They got to play as usual. Yeah, mistake-free game. Maybe have one turnover. Well, I guess we can look at the Rams and who was it? They played this last weekend.
Bears.
Yeah, seven turnovers, 7 interceptions. But
and being at home is going to help.
It's a winnable game.
And Miami needs them. And Miami to win the game has got to cause, just as usual, they got to cause turnovers. Otherwise, I think the Vikes have got this game.
And I just want to point out one more thing. Obviously, I'm the out of us three, I'm the one who's saying Cousins is the least a part of the problem. Out of
the Kool-Aid.
I'd give him 10.
He is.
I'd give him 10% of the problem. 10% of the problem. But I didn't touch on this, so I want to touch on this here quick because you talked about what the Dolphins need to do to win the game. Create turnovers. How do you create turnovers? Pressure the quarterback. When we played Rodgers 3 weeks ago and we played Brady 2 weeks ago, what did we say we needed to do to win? What was one of the things we needed to do to win the game? Get in Brady or Rodgers' face and make them make bad decisions. Yep. Because any quarterback who has players in his face, no matter who they are, whether you're the GOAT, as you are Tom Brady, or you are some random slappy, whoever the new starting quarterback is for Buffalo this week, or the Jets, you know what I mean? You get in their face, you are going to make them look bad. And once again, that goes back to the O-line. So yes, the Dolphins need to will need to blitz and get in our face again, in Cousins' face, just like we need to get in Tannehill's face. Like any game, the first thing the defense says is we need to rush the quarterback and get in his face. And if you can successfully do that, they're going to get rattled and they're going to make mistakes. And that's what happens with Cousins. And that's why I put so much more on the offensive line than I do with Cousins, because he can only do so much. He can't block the guys coming at him. But I just wanted to point that one more thing out because we were talking about what the Dolphins need to win, and that's what they need to do, is continue to get after Cousins like past teams.
And they're going to come, boys. After watching the film the last few weeks on Cousins, they're coming on our line. You know it.
Yeah. So it should be a fun game either way. We don't play the Dolphins very often, so I think I never have their players on my fantasy team, so I never watch the Dolphins. So it's going to be kind of cool to see the Dolphins play. Mm-hmm. Let's do final score. Father, go ahead.
Oh, okay. 27-17 Vikes. And I guess all the Viking fans have to be Packer fans this weekend, so they beat the Bears. Bears. So anyway,
to be honest, I think now that we're kind of out of the division thing, Bears can win.
Yeah,
I'd almost rather just see the Packers lose again.
Well, true.
I mean, if we needed this win to help us get to the division at the last game of the year, then I'd be like, yes. Go Packers.
That's right.
But now because
I'll tell you though, guys, if they lose to the Packers, which they very well could,
division game,
all of a sudden they have to win at San Francisco next week.
Yeah,
because they don't want to let it come down
in our house.
But I think.
Yeah, but I agree. I'd rather see Of course, I'd rather see the Packers.
I'm still going to go low in this one.
Succeed from the Union.
I'm tempted. I'm tempted to say 42-20. But I'm going to say 23-20.
42.
23-20 Vikes. Hey, a big change like this is going to shake. It's going to shake some stuff up, and you never know.
Re-energize.
How old were you, Russ, in '98?
I was 19.
Okay, that's when
you're out of high school.
That's when we had 40 points and 50 points and 40 points.
All the time.
I haven't seen you.
The time.
I haven't seen that since we had Randy and Chris and all.
Once in a while.
Yeah, we've had a few, but not like that year. But
so you said 23-20, Vikes?
I said 27-17.
27-17. Yeah, I think. Yeah, God, you know what? I want to be different. I like the 27-17.
Well, you are, but go ahead.
30-17 Vikes. I'll add a field goal to us just so we have 3 different scores. But I do like the 27-17 option also.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be
going
23-20 close. I know the Vikings, and they always give up a trash touchdown at the end. So
yeah, so it'll be like I said, we've got some things to watch now over the weekend with Stefanowski taking over as OC, because we need to see what he can do. This is his turn. This is his time to audition to be the OC for the future, and let's see what he can do. Let's hope next week when we pop the mic for the show next Tuesday that we're talking about an easy Vikings win, an impressive win.
He's leaving on me. He's not.
What's that?
There are 2 things I'm going to watch for this week.
Okay, go ahead.
All right? 2 things. All those defensive linemen that are going after the quarterback and they get to him and sack him. Yeah, when you get to the point where you can sack him, go ahead and sack him. But if you can't sack, get your arms up, please, and block it, please. I almost used the wrong word there. Yeah. But anyway, and as far as Cook is concerned, they've got to start swinging him out. They got to pass, swing him out.
Yep.
That's my comment. I'm done.
Yep. No, it'll be interesting and it'll be a good game, hopefully, and we can talk about a positive thing. Let's keep backing the Vikes. Let's as Viking fans, we know it's never been easy. So I mean,
we're
we can't
used to this disappointment.
Really,
yeah. So
I picked the wrong week. A quick sniff and do.
It'd just be nice to get a signature win. The only chance we have left at that,
the Bears game,
is Chicago.
Yeah,
we haven't beat any signature.
So
win.
yeah. I mean, well,
and it's an ugly thing that staring at Cousins 4-24 against winning teams. So that's not a good sign either. But
he was. But most of those were with Washington.
Yeah, I know, with Redskins. I know, but still
one of the worst.
One of the worst. Also had 4 of them this year.
One of the worst.
Got 4 of them this year.
One of the worst ran teams in the NFL for the last 20 years.
This year, so.
But
okay.
But, all right. Well, let's stop now. We're plenty far into the episode, so we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up. Once again, leave your comments with your thoughts on what we talked about in the comments section. Hit the thumbs up if you like the show. Hit subscribe. Thank you guys, and we will see you next week.